Thank you so very much. My talk is going to be quite different than what I've been hearing this morning. I'm going to be talking about the next generation that we're teaching about being who you are right now. What are we going to do to make sure that we have the next generation of space scientists like are sitting in this room? We have a program called Journey Through the Universe that we started about 8 years ago, and I'd like to give you a little bit of background. I'm really happy to say that this past year that the Lunar Science Institute became a full partner in our Journey program, and we were so happy to see some of the different scientists show up. To give you a little bit of background again about the Journey program, it's a national program that was started by Dr. Jeff Goldstein in Washington, D.C. He had this idea of starting these different communities across the country and having kids learn about STEM education. When we heard about this, we thought, this is something that we should get into. So we went to our local Department of Education and we said, what would you think about if we had to invest the money, we had to invest the time, and we had to make a 5-year commitment to teaching our students STEM education? Well, we had a very progressive Department of Education. We're very lucky, and they jumped on board with us. So what were the main reasons that we decided to do this? Well, I'll tell you, we are on an island that has 13 observatories, and we, up until that point, hadn't really reached out to our community about science education. So we decided it was time, and now, 7 years later, I'd like to share some numbers with you. It is our flagship outreach program now on the Big Island. This past year, we had 51 astronomy educators, and I'd say 80% of those astronomy educators are actual astronomers that are not only working at our observatories, but are coming in from all over and across the country. We went to 19 different schools. We visited 310 classrooms. We touched over 6,500 students. So a Journey week is really not a week. It consists of over 10 days, and actually it goes on throughout the entire year. We have 38 ambassadors. Those are members of our local community that join us in our efforts. We hold astronomy educator workshops. We hold master educator workshops, teacher workshops. We hold family science events. And then the culmination of the entire event is our local Chamber of Commerce reaches out to us and says thank you to everyone involved in this. Anytime that you take on a program of this magnitude with these kind of numbers, you really need to get your government involved. So we always call the governor's office, the mayor's office, the State House of Representatives, and the State Senate, and we say, okay, we're doing this program. We want you to be involved. And let me tell you, it works, because when they find out that you're doing a program of this nature and they're really reaching out to extend STEM education, they will jump on board. They always write proclamations, and many times, they're there if the money's available. This is a poster that we create every year. We distribute it all throughout the entire Big Island. It lists everybody that's participating in our Journey program. As you can see again, it includes members from all 13 observatories up on Mauna Kea. It includes NASA scientists. We have workers from the National Science Foundation come in. We're extremely proud of all of these scientists that go into our classroom throughout the year. And again, if you want a program to really be successful in your community, you really need to get the local community partners involved. So if you look on this list here, you're going to see banks, you're going to see Rotary clubs, you're going to see our local newspaper involved. We have straight across the board a number of community partners, and they help us in many ways. They're part of our ambassador community, but they also help provide this to happen monetarily. A program of this magnitude costs anywhere from about $70,000 to $100,000 a year to put on. It's not cheap. And all of us have to come together to be able to do this and provide this for our community. We were very lucky this past year. Dr. Jeff Goldstein, who was the founder of this Journey program, was the invited keynote speaker for the National Science Teachers Association. And because of that, he featured our Journey program in Hawaii, and we were able to get a feature article. This article went out to well over 30,000 science teachers across the nation, and I cannot begin to tell you the calls and the interest there are in creating such a program like this in their own community. And again, anytime that you have a program that involves this many students, you're taking on this many schools, you need to let your state superintendent, not just your local superintendent, but your state superintendent has to know how dedicated that we are as a science community to offering STEM education to their kids. Because as you may or may not realize this, but most of our teachers that are teaching in our classrooms today do not have a science background. They have to have help. They have to have assistance. They do not know how to teach these, and they're terrified of teaching this. And so when we can go in there and we can help them, and we can assure them that we're there, we're just a phone call away, it makes a huge amount of difference. So again, to go through a typical journey week, the first thing that we start off with is we have our Astronomer Educator workshops. And the main reason we do that is we get all the astronomers together and we say, okay, you guys, let's start talking. What are your fears about going in the classroom? Let's talk about what you're going to be doing. What are you going to do for hands-on activities? What do these kids want to know? Because again, we're going from kindergarten to 12th grade. Now, most astronomers, if you tell them they're going into high school, they're okay with that. You tell them they're going into middle school, it gets a little bit iffy. You tell them they're going to go in and talk to a kindergartner, they're terrified. Trust me. They have no idea what to say to these little kids. So again, we have the opportunity to share experiences. Our ambassadors, really interesting group of people. You've got to realize, again, that the average person in your community has not been in a school since they graduated from high school. So they have no idea what's going on at those schools at any local level. So, looking at this group picture, these are local physicians, these are university professors, these are car dealer ownerships, these are presidents of banks. All of these people say, I care, how can I help? And your average community citizens, they do want to help, they just don't know how. So we have these ambassadors accompany the astronomy educators into the classroom. It gives them an opportunity to see what's happening in a classroom. And again, this bond forms between these astronomers and these business community. So we're not all kind of like foreigners working up there at some observatory on a mountain. You know, we're real people and we want to help. We have a Master Educator workshop. Again, we had 19 schools involved in our Journey program last year. We pick one teacher from each of those schools and we ask them to be the head of the Journey program. We have a day of classroom module training. There's 5 different modules that we've aligned to the Hawaii State standards. They learn all about that, and then the next day we have a teacher's workshop. We've had anywhere from 70 to 120 teachers attend this workshop. This upcoming year, what the DOE is going to do, and I'm just so extremely excited about this, they're actually going to pay for a substitute day for the teachers to come in on a Friday and go to this teacher's workshop. So we'll have well over 250 science teachers going to our Journey workshop this upcoming year. And again, these teachers actually use these lessons plans because they're aligned to the Hawaii State science standards. And so they can just take these out and they can just use them immediately in their classroom. One of the things that's so exciting about Journey program to me is the Chamber of Commerce and their involvement in it. Every year they throw a thank you celebration, thanking the astronomy educators for caring so much about our students in our community that they take the time to go into the classroom. And then they continue to work with these teachers throughout the year. That's one of the gifts of the Journey program. Once they've committed this relationship with the teacher, with the school, they will go back throughout the year. All they have to do is call them. So at this chamber event, it's an opportunity for all of the business community to meet with all of the astronomers, to meet with the principals, to meet with the teachers, to meet with the different educators. And then it's an opportunity to listen and learn. Doris gave a talk at this past chamber event, and they learned a little bit about the Science Lunar Institute. How exciting for our community to have you all on board. We're so proud of you. When we were at our Journey event, we had one of the little boys sit there, and guess what they're looking at? The moon. We also have, as part of our Journey program, Science Family Days. Every year, we have been holding an event at the Imiloa Astronomy Education Center. We have over 3,000 people show up. You guys, Hilo's only a community of 40,000, so that's a pretty good show when you have 3,000 people show up. And so throughout that day, we have several different lecturers, namely about 10, but they do hands-on activities. So here we have Doris giving a talk, And then we also had Brian Day. He was absolutely wonderful. He brought along his meteorites. The kids absolutely loved him. Then we had a second event at the University of Hawaii at Hilo Theater, and we had Brad Bailey. Again, the kids just absolutely loved. This was something new because, again, we are talking about astronomers. They're talking about something totally different than what we've heard before. We really found out a lot of information about our moon. And you know how excited kids are about the moon? They can look at the moon. They can take their little Galileo scopes. They can actually see things. It's a very exciting time for them to learn about our moon. And just to show you some of the different classroom demonstrations that go on, we don't tell the astronomers what to teach. You know, their whole objective is, we're not there to teach these kids, we're there to inspire them. We want them to get excited about science. We want them to say, oh, I get it now, I see what you guys are doing out there. If you have that aha moment, it's worth its weight in gold. Just again, to just show you some of the few pictures here about what we are doing in the classroom. Lots of exciting experiences. Now, just to give you an overview, again, of what we're trying to do with this Journey program, we are so fortunate that we have a community that has stood behind us and that we actually have 13 observatories up on the mountain. So you're going to say, well, we can't really do that because we don't have that many, astronomers in our community. Well, you've got a few, don't you? You've got, all kinds of astronomy clubs possibly. You don't have to necessarily go into astronomy. You can go into other scientific endeavors. We can talk about, so many different things. Why we are doing this and why we're so excited is because we want our astronomers to go in there and talk about the passion of their work. And let me tell you, when Journey Week happens, we have banners up at the airport. We've got banners across the schools. We've got on their marquees at schools. It's Welcome to Journey Week. We have all kinds of promotion that's happening. It's on the radio stations. We do live remotes. Again, it's a chance for everybody in the community to know what we're doing as far as science and outreach. It also gives an opportunity for the teachers and the master teachers to hold workshops. It's really interesting. Teachers don't really talk to each other. This is an opportunity for everybody to talk to each other, find out what the other schools are doing. If you've got an elementary school where the kids are then going to be going into the middle school and the high school, again, an opportunity for all the teachers to get together. It's another opportunity. We have the public science events. So again, for all of the local business people, as well as just the community at large, to meet with the scientist. There are education opportunities. The spin-offs from Journey are incredible. Just to give you one, for instance, we had a principal of a school call this year and say, we've got about 7 gifted and talented kids at our school, and we would really appreciate the help because we need mentors because they really want to go into astronomy. So we have now had the opportunity that we've got 3 of our astronomers going into this particular school, and they are now mentoring these kids. Again, our future scientists. So, it also gives us an opportunity. I would encourage all of you, if you have any interest whatsoever, I know I have to leave because I have to catch a flight, but I know Doris Dow would sit here and talk to you about it. We have all of these. We have booklets here. I would encourage you to call me because I would love to talk to anyone in this audience about coming a Journey Through the Universe site. And lastly, I'd like to thank the Lunar Science Institute for becoming a partner in Journey. We're so happy to have you on board.
Thanks, Janice. That was a wonderful talk. It looks like Journey is principally on the Big Island. Have you taken this to the other islands or thought about also even a national scope for what you're doing?
Jeff Goldstein actually has a national program that he started, but we've actually kind of done Journey on steroids. Mm-hmm. We have taken it and we're going to continue it. The state absolutely wants to have Journey throughout the state. It's just how do you do it? Because, when you're talking about the money involved in things, you've got to continue to get those community partners. Well,
you've got a large astronomical community in Honolulu as well, so
yes, we do.
And starting to grow one on Maui with Haleakala, so that's
lots of opportunities.
Good opportunities there. Other questions? Doris.
Janice, I just wanted to ask you to remind people if they are interested in starting a journey program in their local area, is there, like, does Jeff has support in a sense that just not only obviously funding but resources? How do you start a journey program?
Actually, there
Who
is
do you
a...
call?
Yeah, thank you, Doris, for asking that. There is a national website called Journey Through the Universe. First of all, call me, because I'll be more than happy to put you directly in contact with Jeff Goldstein, because he wants to continue to create these journey sites throughout the United States.
Okay, I think we're going to have to move on now.